SECRICOM, Seamless Communication for Crisis Management, is a collaborative FP7 project that's funding 13 partners across 8 countries. We're looking at developing technologies to enable improved communications for emergency responders that builds on their existing technology. So we're not looking to replace their existing technology, we're looking to work with it. We're looking at particular features including security, the ability to use multiple bearers seamlessly during times of crisis when bearers are switching in and out as they become available or not available. We're looking at future technologies that are coming out there, such as software-defined radio and the slow transition from Internet Protocol 4 to Internet Protocol 6.
Today is about demonstrating secure, seamless communications in a resilient fashion to prove to people in the emergency services that there is a future that can incorporate new technologies and make use of those and beneficial for the emergency services, making them respond quicker and faster to incidents.
Papa 121, I can hear you loud and clear.
The exercise that we're doing will be a range of activities where actors, who are actually members of the project, will work to a script to exercise that technology.
SECRICOM being an EU project, we're mainly looking here at cross-border scenarios. So of course if we have a situation that happens on a border, such as a dam breaking between 2 countries or near 2 countries, for one country to actually talk to the other country, it's extremely difficult to do. Not just on a language point of view, because obviously they may speak different languages, but they actually literally are running different systems, different technologies, and to get those technologies to talk together needs some sort of a common background. And that's what SECRICOM's trying to do. So it combines systems like Tetra that some of the emergency services already use and integrating it with other systems that other services use, such as analog radio, or even mobile phones and Wi-Fi networks, making these all work together ubiquitously to make one unified network.
There is a secondary communication system, which is the visualization, which is actually then showing the audience in this room who is doing what when. The screens there will be showing actors speaking, and there'll be supporting slides and other activities on the screen as the exercise runs. The first one is about an evacuation process whereby a police officer needs to communicate with a leisure centre manager and then an ambulance or paramedic in relation to a person who requires medical assistance. And what we're aiming to show is that you can have facilitative communication at that low level of operations without going up the command chain across and down and possibly losing some of the importance of the message. During the exercises, the first screen on the left will show the bearer monitoring changes, and in the lower half, live security monitoring that's being exported from Spain. Screen 2 will show webcams of exercise actors with their call signs from across Europe. Screen 3 will predominantly show the talk group management screen, and also from time to time it will show visualization of information exchanges. And screen 4 will show the presentation slides. Taking the findings from the user requirements and utilising the subsequently developed technical infrastructure, the exercise will cover the following objectives: seamless and resilient voice, data and text, short message data and document transfer capability, information exchange between units and agencies, multiple handsets, multiple bearers, including Tetra and analog, mobile deployment, security with trust, confidence and accountability, and we are going to operate over state borders. On the fourth screen you'll see a diagram of the project scenario, which, as you've been previously informed, is based on a major reservoir flooding with a chemical plant explosion. Various agencies respond to this disaster, setting up individual commands with interagency strategic, tactical, operational command groups forming. For demonstration purposes, we've introduced a simplified call sign system for agencies. Ambulance Service Tactical Commander is Alpha 1. For the fire, it's Foxtrot 1. Local Authority, Lima 1. And for the police, it's Papa 1. You can see that below each tactical commander, for each agency, are respective operational commanders, each of whom have units under them. A recognisable hierarchy of call signs have been assigned. Again, for demonstration purposes only and as part of the project scope, please note that we have situated the ambulance service in another country. Papa 1-2 is here in Portsmouth on the Kinetic site using a legacy analogue radio. Papa 121 is on the Kinetic site here also, on the southern part of the campus using a SECRICOM-enabled mobile phone. Lima 122 is in the University of Luxembourg using a SECRICOM-enabled PDA. Alpha 131 is in Ardico premises in Slovakia and is using a Tetra radio. Alpha 132 also in Slovakia using a SECRICOM-enabled Android phone. PapaCom support is in Kinetic in the room adjacent using a secure docking model protected laptop. And AlphaCom support is in Slovakia using an iPad, which is for a local mobility demonstration as well, but for our purposes we'll assume is in a fixed infrastructure. Within the project scenario, this exercise begins after it has been agreed by the Strategic Coordinating Group at one of their regular meetings that an area has to be evacuated for safety. Through the police chain of command, Papa 1-2 is directed to assign a unit to escort 4 coaches with evacuees to a nearby leisure centre. An information exchange will now take place between various units, and here we intend to highlight the flexibility of different devices to suit different situations and organisational preferences. For your information, during the conversation you should see the webcam on Papa 121 cut out. This will indicate a seamless change from bearer from Wi-Fi to 3D.
1-2, are you receiving me? Over. Papa 121, I can hear you loud and clear. Over. Course officer, for the coaches that will be taking residence to the leisure centre. Over. Papa 1, repeat. Over. Papa 121 from Papa 12. How long do you estimate it will take you to reach Station Road? Over. 2 from Papa 121. I think it should take about 30 minutes. Over. Papa 121 from Papa 12. All received, thanks. Over and out.
On arrival at Station Road, Papa 121 locates the coaches with the residents who have been evacuated. He checks each coach and discovers that one individual has a medical condition. An exchange of information will now take place.
Papa comms for 121. Can you assist, please? Over.
Papa 121 from Papa Com support. Go ahead. Over.
Papa comms Papa 121. I'm the appointed escort officer for the evacuees from Station Road. I have discovered that one resident is diabetic and has lost his insulin. I need to discuss this with the leisure centre manager who will receive this person. Can you link me with him? Over.
Papa 1 Com support. By. Over.
Please observe the third screen and see the setup of the dedicated talk group.
Papa 1 from Papa Com support. I'm going to transfer you to a dedicated evacuation talk group. Over. Papa 1 from Papa Com support. Can you hear me? Over.
Papa from Papa 121. I can hear you loud and clear. Over.
Papa 1 from Papa Com support. Stand by on this talk group. Over.
PapaCom support liaises with the local authority communication centre and arranges for the leisure centre manager, Lima 122, to be assigned to the dedicated evacuation talk group.
Lima 122, can you hear me? Over.
PapaCom support from Lima 122. Can hear you. Over.
Lima 122 from PapaCom support. Stand by. Papa 121, go ahead with talk through with Lima 122. Over.
Lima 1, Papa 121. I'm the police officer conducting the escort for the evacuees. We have 4 coaches with a total of 160 people. This includes a diabetic man who has lost his insulin. Over.
Papa 121. We don't have facilities to accept the diabetic man without his insulin. Over.
2. I will seek medical advice. Over.
Papa 121, before you seek advice, I think you need to know that with the media at the front of the centre, I suggest you use the back entrance. I'll draw a sketch of this entrance on a plan of the leisure centre and send it to you. Over.
Please observe on screen 3, Lima 122 sketching on the preloaded plan and then sending it to Papa 121, who receives it on his mobile phone before saving it. That's a preloaded plan, and Lima 122 have just shown a route in on the plan. And that, you'll see at the bottom, that's been received from Lima 122.
Lima 122 received. Thanks. I will now get medical advice and arrange for you to listen in. Over.
Papa 121, thanks. Over.
Support from Papa 121. Could I have talk through with the paramedic, please? Also, I want Lima 122 in on the conversation. Over.
Papa 121 from Papacom Sport. Stand by.
Papacom Support, using existing protocols, makes an interagency PTT call to AlphaCom Support in order to find an available paramedic to join the dedicated evacuation talk group.
AlphaCom Support. I have a unit requesting medical advice. He's sitting on the dedicated evacuation talk group. Do you have a unit available to converse with him direct?
Papacom Support, stand by. Papacom Support, yes, I have 2 units available. I will move them onto the dedicated evacuation talk group.
AlphaCom Support, thank you.
Papacom Support was acknowledging that they have 2 units. They're now going to be introduced into the talk group by Papacom Support.
Lima 122, Alpha 131, Papa 121, Alpha 131. You are now all on the multi-agency evacuation talk group. Over.
Alpha 121. I'm the police officer in charge of escorting the coaches for the evacuation. One passenger is diabetic and has lost his insulin. He needs his insulin in 4 hours. Can you assist us? Over.
Papa 121. What type of insulin does he take and how often? Over.
Alpha 1, stand by. He says it's human insulin twice a day. Over.
Papa 121. That's not a problem. I'm at the hospital now and will pick up the emergency supplies. I will deliver them to the leisure center, but first can you tell me the patient name for the hospital records? Over.
Alpha 1, his name is difficult for me to accurately pronounce. I will text it to you over the group. Over.
If you watch screen 3, you'll see the text coming over. And the name that's difficult to pronounce is Dr. Ahmed Aldabar, a key member of the project team until about 6 months ago. I thought you'd like that, Tal.
Thank you very much.
Papa 121 from Alpha 131. I cannot receive it on my device, but my colleague Alpha 132 has received it successfully. Over.
Lima 122, text message received. Thanks. Over.
Lima 2 from Papa 121. Did you hear the conversation regarding the diabetic? Over.
Papa 121, yes, I'm happy to receive him now. Over.
Papa 121 from Alpha 131. I heard all that. I know where the leisure center is and I can be there in about 2 hours. Over.
Alpha 131. I suggest you use the rear entrance leisure center to avoid media. I have a rough sketch map of the way in and I will forward it to you. Over.
Papa 121, good idea. Please send it to my colleague Alpha 132, who is with me as I cannot receive it on my handset. Over.
Please observe again on screen 3, Papa 121 is going to forward the original map from Lima 122 to Alpha 132, and we should see the latter receiving it. So this is the original map that came from the leisure centre manager to the police officer, and it's the same map that's now being moved on. There it is. So that's the same one. So we've moved it across borders and across agencies for the exercise.
Papa 121 from Alpha 132. I have received the sketch map. Over.
Okay, on the technical side, what we've just observed is communication across Europe enabled by SECRICOM technology, linking the Tetra system and several other SECRICOM-enabled devices. Please note that the Tetra device ID is mapped against agency call signs used during the exercise, and you can see it running the other way as well. Right, this concludes the exercise. So thank you very much, folks, around Europe and here. You have seen voice, data and text information exchanged. Now, we've done it between units and agencies, so it shows it's feasible. You've had multiple handsets on multiple bearers. You've had the PTT functionality on non-radio devices. So that's, you know, no loaning of radios, no sending of runners, no on-site configuration, no training, no technical fit out at the scene of an incident to get your radio working with someone else. No reliance on one communication system either. And it did fade in and out. Bearing in mind this is a proof of concept, we were linked up to Tetra. So you had analog and you had mobile phones talking to Tetra, folks. Food for thought. You had short message and document data transfer. Helps audit purposes. On the exercise, we went over state borders. I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of miles it is between here and Bratislava. It must be 400 or 500 miles. Whilst it wasn't necessarily visible, there was security, confidence and accountability with the various pieces of equipment.
This last period, when we prepared the demonstration, was a great challenge for all of us. It was a great teamwork, many rehearsals, many versions of the scripts, and also a big portion of work for the team for technical preparations.
The project officers of SECRICOM have essentially set out what's called a description of work, and this is basically what we had to achieve within the 2-year project. And they're here today to assess whether or not we have achieved that, and we're using an actual demonstration as part of that to show not only how are we writing a document that says we've done it, we are going to physically show you it operating. Which is actually, for an FP7 project, quite unique. They're usually used to just reading lots of reports.
It is a proof of concept, but we're also demonstrating an overall capability. And that's why you assemble the users to look at that and to make them think about what they can actually be doing when they're specifying future systems, when they're specifying user requirements.
The second exercise involves dealing with an incident whereby fire personnel require expert advice from another country. It involves a sort of a three-way conversation with exchange of images to inform the expert, who can then give his advice to the fire chief. As a result, written reports are then forwarded across the airways so that the fire officer has the expert's report in his log. We then do a short exercise where there's an automatic search of hospital databases that paramedics request, so they know where to take patients, rather than what normally happens across Europe, whereby people have to constantly keep phoning up and finding out what the occupancy situation is with hospitals. We're now going to move to exercise number 2. So on the far left there, you've got the bearer monitoring activity at the top half, and at the bottom half, you've got the security monitoring going on. The second screen is our links to Europe and the various actors. The third screen will have the talk group management screen, and again, when we exchange some data, you'll see that, and we've got the presentation slides.
I forgot to mention this morning that this same network that we're using to show you this demonstration and have all these push-to-talk conversations is actually also supporting all of this video traffic. I think it's very important to highlight this because we noticed today we've actually had 60 gig of webcam traffic received in just this week. And I think that's quite a lot of traffic and not something you'd actually expect in a normal environment.
This exercise will address the following project objectives, again drawn from user requirements. So, secure and resilient multi-way discussion. We're going to introduce a specialist out-of-theatre source from across state borders. This could relate to CBR incidents or special medical advice. And it's going to include all parties in one conversation talk group, rather than negating the upper command chain across and back down, where sometimes misinterpretation of important information can occur. Secure instant written data exchange with audit trail. Encrypted imagery, we can do chat and text, similar to SMS. And we're going to be looking at a large text format of up to 1,000 characters that can also have electronic signatures, electronic delivery and read receipts, and is addressable to group or single users. And then we're going to look at the secure agent. Instant access to live information from different data sources and different formats without the need for time-consuming manual processes. In this exercise, we're going to illustrate this need to identify a number of hospital beds in different areas. The players involved are as follows. Foxtrot.com support in the adjacent room here in Portsmouth. He is using a desktop PC with touchscreen capability. Alphacom support for this exercise will now move here to Portsmouth and will also be in the adjacent room for demonstration purposes. They will be using a laptop with secure agent. Foxtrot 1 are on the premises of Nextel in Spain and are using a Symbian mobile phone. Foxtrot 11 here on site at Kinetic using a legacy analog radio. And Foxtrot 112 also here on site, separate from Foxtrot 1, using a SECRICOM enabled ruggedized PDA. We have an external expert. Mr. Smith is situated in the premises of ITTI in Poland and is using a SECRICOM enabled laptop. And we have two paramedics, Alpha 131 and Alpha 132, situated on Artico premises in Slovakia, using a Tetra radio and an Android tablet, respectively. This exercise begins at some point following the chemical plant explosion. Foxtrot 112 discovers an abandoned lorry with a container holding a hazardous chemical. The markings on the container, Acme Limited, are unfamiliar to Foxtrot 112. A search of the vehicle's vicinity also reveals a collapsed person nearby. An exchange of information will now take place.
Foxtrot comm support from Foxtrot 112. Urgent message. Over.
Foxtrot 112 from Foxtrot comm support. Go ahead. Over.
Comm support. I need an ambulance at the junction of High Street and Final Lane. I collapsed now with what looks like chemical burn to his upper body and arms.
Foxtrot 112 from Foxtrot comm support. Ambulance en route. Over.
Comm support. Many thanks. I also have another request in relation to a container with an unknown chemical at the same location as the collapsed male. Over.
Following the communication of the details of the chemical container to Foxtrot.com support, a search of the fire agency's databases reveals that the manufacturer is based in a neighbouring country. After a flurry of urgent telephone calls, arrangements are made for a local police officer to attend the home of the company's resident expert, Mr. Smith, with a SECRICOM-enabled laptop to join a talk group supported by imagery with Foxtrot 112, his operational commander, Foxtrot 11, and the fire agency's tactical commander, Foxtrot 1. An exchange of information will now take place between the external expert, Foxtrot 1, 11, 112. It will be live and interactive.
Hello, Mr. Schmidt. I will connect you through to the senior fire incident commander and our personnel on the ground. Stand by. Foxtrot 1, you now have a designated talk-through channel with Mr. Schmidt, the chemical expert. Stand by. Foxtrot 112, you now have talk-through on this channel with Mr. Schmidt, the chemical expert. Stand by. Son, go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Smith. I'm Incident Commander. Also listening in on this talk group is my operational commander, Foxtrot 11, and my unit, Foxtrot 112, who is dealing with the container in question. Over.
Mr. Smith says he's been briefed by his colleagues, including the details of the collapsed mail, and he's confident that he can help. He asked to see the container and speak with the unit there.
Foxtrot 112 from Foxtrot 11. Can you confirm you are wearing personal protective equipment before dealing with this container? Over.
Foxtrot 11 from Foxtrot 112. Affirmative. Over.
Foxtrot 112 from Foxtrot 1. As you are wearing your protective equipment, can you provide some images of the container, please, direct to Mr. Smith? Over.
We will now watch the unit take photographs of the barrel and send them to the group. Taking a photograph with a smartphone or PDA is quite common today. The SECRICOM software installed in the device will ensure the transfer is encrypted and delivered automatically to all users in the talk group, if the target device supports this. For example, when the image is received by the Tetra gateway, it is simply ignored. And there you can see the picture with a dangerously close collapsed mail. And as you can see, we've seen data transfer there.
Mr. Schmidt, are the pictures enough for you? Over.
Yes, thank you. From the mapping, I can say this container is harmful to people if they are exposed to in an unprotected state. It will cause unconsciousness and chemical burns. Also, if the container is hot, then you need to have a 500-meter cauldron until it cools down. I no longer need to see more images. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, thank you for this advice. Could you please send me a written confirmation of your advice for our incident log? Over.
Yes, not a problem. I will send it straight away.
For demonstration purposes, there's no delay in the expert drafting and then sending his advice, and no bill either. The advice note is retained on the device's system for audit purposes. This message could comprise up to 1,000 characters, include electronic signature with delivery, receipt and read receipt capabilities. Such messages can also be recorded and integrated into incident logs, which can enhance audit trail requirements. And we should see the written document up there now, and our colleagues from the fire should be able to see that it's a genuine advice note. Following the information from the expert, Mr. Smith, the Fire Ops Commander, Foxtrot 11, via COM support, requests to talk with the paramedics responding to the collapsed mail at the scene. It is assumed the necessary protocols and link-ups have already been undertaken.
Alan 31 from Foxtrot 11. In relation to the collapsed mail you're responding to, today you will require full protective clothing. Over.
Foxtrot 11 from Alpha 131. Advice noted, and many thanks. Out.
There you saw Tetra to analog again. The assigned ambulance arrives at the scene with its full protective equipment and commences treatment to the collapsed male. Shortly they will seek advice on which hospital is available for specialist burns treatment from the ambulance comm support. The support will access the hospital databases to determine which hospital the ambulance will be directed to.
Alpha 131, go.
Alpha 131 makes the request of Alpha comm support. He informs him that he's got the collapsed male with substantial chemical burns and seeks advice on which hospital to take him to. Alpha comm support asks them to stand by.
Alpha 131 from Alpha comm support. Go ahead. Over.
In Alpha comm support, you've now got a secure agent infrastructure in action. These forms you will see are generated by a secure agent.
The filled-in forms are sent through the same communication infrastructure as the actors are using for voice communication. This is travelling all the way back to Slovakia and going through 4 servers before coming back here. We've got a location specification being drafted up, and we've chosen Hampshire. The third form in this step is we want to specify what we're doing. Explicitly, we would like to search bed availability around our current location. We also specify the particular clinic or ward type and the number of injured people for which we search hospital capacities. Upon this form submission, 4 different agents are sent to 4 geographically distributed hospital information systems. For the purpose of this exercise, these databases, as I said, are located in Slovakia. The delay you are seeing is caused by agents travelling these distant databases, executing the predefined search in a secure manner and returning to the relevant information in the system. And here you see the presentation of the integrated results from 4 different databases. For each hospital, you might see the total number of beds already reserved and taken beds and beds available for reservation. The system can compute the distances of the hospitals from the current location, and we can see that the closest hospital to the kinetic site is Queen Alexandra, but unfortunately there are no available beds. Therefore, the patient is sent to the second closest hospital, which is St Richard's in Chichester, which has been pointed out to me quite correctly is in West Sussex. Right, that's a pictorial representation of what I've just told you with all these searches going on. After this process is finished, we get that information, and then we should move back to the exercise where the paramedic is directed to the hospital, please.
Alpha 131, take your patient to St. Richard's Hospital, Chichester. Over.
We've managed to reach the end of this exercise, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you very much, and well done for everyone in Slovakia, Spain, England, and Poland. Thank you very much. We think we've demonstrated the following: secure and reliable discussion, multiple person discussion, and we've introduced, somewhat artificially I know, but an out of theatre specialist. It's the sort of thing that comes up in major incidents, whether it's a CBRN, how to treat someone with peculiar burns or whatever. Just to give you a flavour, really. For me, one of the important parts of this is that actually all concerned parties from different agencies can go on one talk group without the need to travel up command chains across and get what I call message decay of important information. We've also shown you instant written data exchange, so you can actually ask for that expert report and get it. We all know the sort of audit trail approach and, shall we say, public inquiry, because the public inquiry is obviously there to search for the truth. It's never there to blame anyone, as we know. And then you saw a quick illustration of the secure agent, ready access to bed availability. I believe in the UK, and I'm looking at you, Peter, that quite often that sort of information is done by a phone round every couple of hours. Well, as we all know, the information can be out of date as soon as the phone is put down. Instant access will give you current relevant information, which will save lives. And again, it can be applied to other bits of kit that you would need in a major incident.
The final demonstration was a real success because we showed most of the components of the system. We were able to visualize the work that we made during the project. And I think that the stakeholder audience appreciated that we did well.
We can take systems that the emergency services across Europe already have in place and already using today, and we can take those forward into the future while integrating with technologies that currently aren't available to the emergency services today and integrating those with technologies that are.
As coordinator of this project, I've worked with the partners for almost 5 years in bringing SECRICOM together and working towards the goal of the final integration and demonstration of this project. It's been a real pleasure working with the partners. I've met some very interesting characters and some very strong characters, and these are sort of memories that you keep for the rest of your working life.